Now, tomorrow, big day, it's International Women's Day celebrations in Ennis. And ahead of that, those celebrations hosted by Women's Collective Ireland, Clare and Clare Traveller Community Development Project, we're joined by one of the event's special guests. Helen Hutchinson, a traveller poet, will be sharing her powerful words as part of the morning's celebration of connection, creativity and community under this year's theme, Give to Gain. And Helen joins me on the line now. Helen, thank you for being with us on Morning Focus.
Thank you for having me.
You are taking part in this year's International Women's Day celebrations in Ennis.
I will be down in Ennis taking part tomorrow. I will be with the Clare Community CPT group, and it'll be hosted on International Women's Day, so that will be on tomorrow. The theme of this will be to give and gain, meaning give a little of yourself, a song, a poem, a story, and friendship. It's a way of understanding our community. Also, it's a way of interacting with settled women, because we seem to be doing an awful lot of that, and it's good that everybody gets included. Councillor Mary Hollard will officially open this year's event, and we're also pleased to have the feminist and the LTGB community as well, with our patron, I can't pronounce her name right, Everly Smith, who will join us for the morning celebration. So it aims to be a great day with a lot going on in it, a lot for everybody. So I'm sure people will walk away with a lot from it. Yeah, it sounds like they will, and plenty happening. And the day, Helen, centres around generosity, shared stories and connection. How powerful is storytelling within the traveller community? Very powerful. It was, once upon a time, it was the only entertainment that young travellers would have ever before we settled down. We used to be camped on the wagons. I remember we would have been one of the first travellers to be housed under the Itinerancy Act, the Charlie Hotter regime, in 1967. So we were taken from the road then, and I remember we had the wagons and we had the open fires. My brothers used to play the mouth organs. My father used to play the tin whistle. My mother was a great singer. And so there was always music going, but we always stories told, and to be based upon our own way of life, going back through the generations, as for us not to lose our culture or our history. That was very much kept alive through the older generation for us to pass down to the younger generation. So storytelling hugely important, and even outside the traveller community, storytelling is one of those age-old skills that we don't want to lose out on. But I'm curious to find out how poetry became a big feature of your life. So storytelling integral to the traveller community. Was it a natural offshoot that you got into poetry, or was that an unusual turn for you to take? Because of the settling down, and because of the assimilation, because of being taken from our own community, and having a fair bit of knowledge of where we came from, but going to school then and losing it, and the system trying to change you, condition you into their way of life, into thinking that you weren't a traveller, you were a settled person, because that was actually said to us in the schools. After I left school and I came out, when we were in our teenage years, we lived up a lane in Cloughjordan, and we went down that lane. We come to the end of it, and we'd be automatically a settled person. When we come up that lane, automatically we would be the traveller. So it left us a very confused family. So I started then around 18. I felt very lost, and I started a journey to find myself, to know who were we. And I got to be part of a group called Pavy Point, which learned me on society and where we fitted in society, which wasn't a lot. And from there, and from all my work down through the years, I started to write poetry based upon my lived experience. So I wrote poetry upon what it was like to be taken off the roads. What way did I feel now we were in houses? What way did I view travellers? And who was I as a traveller woman? And what was out there to benefit me? And who would help me on my journey? And how many other travellers were in this scenario, which to me, I found out they all were. There wasn't any traveller that really wanted to settle. But when you were forced settled and you were told that you weren't a traveller anymore, that you were now a settled person, it was the first day, and I was only a 6-year-old child, that we were brought up to the top of a classroom, and we were actually told that. And to us, that was an indication, the first indication ever, that we were different. So you can imagine our little minds at that time looking up at the teachers and looking at the children, and the children looking back at us with contempt. It hit hard. But yet, within the school system, the bullying, everything that happened to us as a family, and then going on to losing 2 of my brothers through suicide because of the discrimination and because of the suppression. Then going on further in life to lose 2 more of my nephews, 2 brothers, and then losing a niece and a nephew. It really brought it home to me that there was big travellers, big issues among the travelling community, but they could never be solved unless the racism and the prejudices, they got to be addressed.
And Helen,
within the system.
Can I ask, I mean, that is such an incredible toll of loss to have to have experienced. Through poetry, is that a way to, express your creativity, but to not just, given that you're talking about the difficulties of assimilation, but a way to remember those difficulties, but also a way to remember those you've lost, and also your traveller culture. The storytelling preserves your history, and the poetry does as well.
It does, and I try to bring in the pain we went through my poetry, in order, because the pain that we went through wouldn't be what I would be calling we went through, is what us travellers went through, because this day and age is affecting every traveller in the country. Suicide is 7 times the national average. So there has to be more done within the system to help travellers. When you're told you're not wanted, you get no job, you're not served in pubs, you're not served even to get a dinner. There's nowhere for you to get your child Holy Communion or weddings or anything like that. You're frowned upon, and you're told, sorry, not here, sorry, not here, even though I know of young travellers who have set dates and were meant to be in the hotels on that date, their wedding day, only to be told to go away, turn around and go home without having any reception. That's how bad the discrimination is in Ireland, and indeed England as well.
So those events, things like that, incidences like that, still, even despite attempts to assimilate, mark you out as they're othering you, or mark you out as different. And is that why an event like tomorrow's event is so important? Because it's about not just inclusion, but about understanding across communities.
It is, and we'll be talking an awful lot about that, and we'll be talking at solutions, and we'll be talking for more travellers to stand up to the system. It's a sort of a way of reaching out to each other and saying to each other, we are here for each other, and that's happening now all over the country, where travellers are starting to join up and being more articulate, and travellers as well are getting a better education now than they were back in my time. I only went to secondary school, second class, international school, where travellers now reach second, third level education, which is great. And we have an awful lot of young travellers, young women and young men out there now. And hopefully they will take positions of power, and that they will be able to empower travellers in some way, even by them being there, that they will give travellers the hope that we can do this too, especially the young people. We can do this. We can follow. So it's a great way for young travellers to look up to the older generation, which I would mean older now would be people in their late 20s, 30s, as the younger ones coming up need to look at them and need to take a stance and need to understand that what those people are doing, they're doing it for them. And
and Helen, your culture is clearly important, very important to you as a traveller. How important is in unison with that is your gender, to not just be a traveller poet, but to be a female traveller poet.
To be a female traveller poet, I'm proud that I'm a female traveller poet, because out of the few of us, I love the notion of just getting a pen and writing down from the woman's point of view on the life that we live, because travelling men aren't inclined to do that, but they are inclined now to go to theatre and get their voice heard through dramas, through acting, through singing. There's an awful lot of that going on. But for me, as a woman, I find myself sometimes on the outside looking in, but I overcome that knowing who I am and knowing my worth, because you've got to know your worth. It's not as if people are looking at you in a bad way. It's yourself that you've got to come to a level in your mind and say, I am a poet and this is my life and this is the way I'm going to live it. And, so that would be my take on that you can't help it being who you are. And regardless of whether you're gay or whatever you are still a human being. And you've got to treat everybody with equality. We all come into this world for a reason, and we will leave it with the same reason. And there is no point in anybody sitting back and thinking they have the nerve to judge another person. Nobody has that right.
Yeah.
We are all equal.
Yeah,
and regarding what country you come from or where you are, I am an Irish traveller woman. I am proud of my heritage and my traditions. I am proud of my identity, because without an identity, you are nothing.
Well, we appreciate you, Helen, joining us. You expressed yourself very well, and no doubt you will get a great reception, along with everyone else is going to be part of that International Women's Day celebrations in Ennis. That's hosted by Women's Collective Ireland, Clare, and Clare Traveller Community Development Project. And the traveller poet Helen Hutchinson will be sharing her powerful words as part of the morning celebration of connection, creativity and community under this year's theme, Give to Gain.